How's it going, guys? Dragon Star Production here, back with another What If video. This time, though, going to be my first ever full movie on the channel. I really hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to smash that like button. Comment down below what other What Ifs you want to see. And without further ado, let's get into What If Future Trunks and Mai stayed the full movie.
As we all know, this would take place after the Goku Black arc, and it would also be the time to build up for the Tournament of Power. So Trunks would be exploring this new power, or at least trying to get control of Rage like he just was able to do against Goku Black. And Goku, of course, would be training with Trunks quite often. So although being able to reach Super Saiyan Rage Trunks wasn't on the table yet, he was still growing quite strong. And as for Mai, she was able to build a great relationship with Bulma, and she was even able to help her at Capsule Corp and was quite a good hand and was able to build a good bit of the inventions for Bulma, creating faster process and making better inventions at a more sufficient rate. Trunks, though, would also attempt to keep a good relationship with his younger self, Kid Trunks, even promising to show him Super Saiyan 2. But this would be a while before he could actually show him. Mai would also be kind to her younger self, but her younger self was also very sarcastic and rude towards her, so she just kind of smiled at her and went on with her business. But I know what you're all thinking. What does this really change besides Trunks and Mai being in the timeline? Well, because the Tournament of Power hasn't been quite mentioned yet, because Goku isn't bored. Because he has Trunks to train with, and Trunks is never going to back down from saying no to Goku. So the Tournament of Power is slightly delayed there for a minute, because Trunks and Goku, and a little bit time Vegeta, they're all training. However, like normal, Goku would still end up remembering the idea of the Tournament of Power, so we wish to bring it upon Zeno, so he does. So then we get to the exhibition match. And this is where things change a lot, because Trunks has been training with Goku side by side for a while. He was actually there with Zeno, so Trunks will be replacing Majin Buu on fighting Basil in the exhibition match. So I'm just going to waste no time and jump straight into the fight. They were dashing in at each other. Trunks was using his punches while Basil was blocking with his feet. This was catching Trunks very off guard, so he decided to pick it up a notch and go Super Saiyan. After Trunks' hits were connecting, Trunks would try to build up an opening by side kicking, forcing Basil to use his arms, in which Trunks grabs and hip tosses him over his shoulder, causing Basil to slide across the arena. Basil, though, reacts fast and gets up, shooting a blast straight out of his foot, but Trunks counteracts the blast with a burning attack. The two seemed quite evenly matched at this time. The two fighters were very tired, especially Basil, after he shoots a rapid ki blast from his feet, as we've seen him do in the exhibition match against Majin Buu. Trunks has no choice but to power up one more time to Super Saiyan 2. Trunks then rushes through all the ki, dodging them until punching Basil right in the gut. Basil is stunned, but Trunks takes this as a moment to use his father's technique, the Gallic Gun. This was enough to knock Basil off the edge of the ring, but as we all know, Basil had another trick up his sleeve. He would, like Cannon, eat the rip-off version of the Tree of Might, or the fruit from the Tree of Might, and grow so much larger and much more deadly. Trunks and Basil was putting on quite the show for Zeno, but even with Basil's big boost, Trunks was dodging his attacks until getting fed up with Basil, so he uses his old technique, a Finish Buster, which does just that. It finishes Basil. After this fight, everything would kind of take place as normal in the exhibition match. Now we really get to jump into the prep of the Tournament of Power. Because after hearing about the Tournament of Power, Trunks would be most interested in training with his father, Vegeta, but he could never get to find him. He was always gone, so instead Trunks would train with Piccolo until Goku came up with the idea of him actually coming with him to train with Whis so that he could master this Super Saiyan Rage form that he's been trying to do on Earth for quite some time, since after the Goku Black arc. Trunks believed it was a good idea, so he did just that. Mai, though, during this time, she was actually trying to create her own invention. This invention was to help some military grade guns that could even damage a Frieza soldier, for example, the gun's power. And with Bulma's help, the gun became a big hit for the military. But meanwhile, back to Trunks, he would be pushed through some very intense training with Whis while Beerus mumbled about him being some criminal for time traveling in time. Finally though, we've reached the Tournament of Power because I don't want to spoil Trunks' training until we actually jump straight into it. Everyone arrives at the Tournament of Power ring, watching all the others come to battle. Trunks would be aware of all the other Saiyans due to Goku, and Trunks knew about Kaba seeing Vegeta as a master, and not to take any of them lightly. And I mention this because Trunks is observing all of his opponents, as he knows that he has to fight for his life. And he's been in that shoe before, so he doesn't want to lose everything that he's fought for again. And then speaking of observing, that's exactly what Mai will be doing of the tournament as well, with Bulma and the rest of the others. But I guess I should go over the Universe 7 team, because as normal, Majin Buu does fall asleep. So it will be Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Master Roshi, Android 18, Android 17, Krillin, and Trunks. And because, like I said before, Majin Buu falls asleep, Frieza would not be the suggestion and said they would go back to Tien's dojo and get him to recruit, and he would join in, being that the universe was on the line. So, Trunks also decides that he likes the idea of sticking with Gohan's plan of staying in the middle and close together, being smart because he knows numbers is key, because he fought the androids for years and then he fought Goku Black and Zamasu. Knowing that numbers were key in battle, he knew that Gohan had a great plan and everyone just needed to follow it. Just staying together seemed like the smartest idea to Trunks because his entire life, like I said before, has been a handicap. And he's just lost one world he's been fighting for, and he doesn't want to lose another. So in staying in the middle, Trunks would be really just helping the other fighters such as Master Roshi, Krillin, Tien, stuff like that, just helping them fight average little fighters. However, Trunks would then feel a familiar energy, so he heads over there. Trunks then finds Goku and Vegeta taking on the Trio of Danger. Vegeta takes on Basil for attempting to blast him from the back, while Trunks fights Lavender and his poison while Goku was handling Bergamo quite well. This would eventually lead with the Trio of Danger to use their last resort, their finishing move, but it was very short-lived due to a final burning Kamehameha, eliminating the last members of Universe 9. Next up for Trunks though, he had over to come across Mercham from Universe 10. He was a big brute, but that was basically it. Trunks used all of his speed just to get the upper hand. Trunks rushed in behind Mercham, knocking him in the back. He then used another burning attack, but the fight was interrupted by Vegeta, who stole the elimination from his son. However, Trunks would end up getting his first solo elimination after going Super Saiyan and just easily knocking off Jamise, who thought his instant transmission could help him, but we all know that Trunks is familiar with the instant transmission because of fighting Goku. Trunks then, right after eliminating Jamise, would be caught off guard by none other than Frost. Frost would come up sneak attacking Trunks, which gave him the upper hand, just smacking Trunks with his tail. Luckily though, Gohan was able to intercept one of Frost's punches and allows Trunks to get stable and fight fairly. Trunks knew not to underestimate Frost, knowing that he had to be at least a little bit cunning, just like Frieza. Trunks wastes no time and goes Super Saiyan 2. Frost though goes max power into his buff form, and the two battle it out. Trunks instantly had a plan as soon as going into the fight after seeing the buff form, just to drain Frost's energy. The two lock up. Frost tries using a finger blast, but Trunks is able to slide by all of them, then counters with a Masenko, which nails Frost, but doesn't eliminate him. Frost starts panting as he falls from the buff form. He attempts to use a smoke bomb to get away, but Trunks was too fast. He darts in and gut punches Frost. followed up by another Masenko. Frost was eliminated, just like that. Trunks would then rush into the middle to get a breather, which works for a while until Anaraza forms. Trunks would then go Super Saiyan 2 and replace Frieza in the fight against Anaraza. Next up, though, Trunks would see Gohan battling it out with Dyspo and struggling a little bit. Dyspo's speed was killing Gohan because he couldn't keep up, but Trunks rushes in and catches Dyspo by surprise. This creates an opening for Gohan to grab him. Dyspo was shocked because Gohan was grabbing him from behind and he couldn't move. Gohan screams for Trunks to eliminate them, but Trunks couldn't eliminate Gohan. He's already seen him die once, so Dyspo reacts. He shimmies out and kicks Gohan right off the edge, leaving Trunks furious. Trunks' body started to shake as his pupils faded to white. His aura shot out from a blue color. Trunks was in Super Saiyan rage. The entire thing that he's been trying to reach, he finally did. Trunks goes straight in at Dyspo. Dyspo's speed this time couldn't help him. Trunks was way too fast in the rage form. He was way stronger than Dyspo as well. Trunks starts knocking Dyspo around the ring, but Dyspo is managing to keep away from the edge due to his speed until Trunks spin kicks Dyspo right in the stomach, causing him to spit up saliva and blood. Trunks then places his hand under Dyspo and tosses him up into the air, and the next thing we hear is a Heat Dome attack. Dyspo goes flying off of the ring, but this does drain Trunks so much. So Trunks would once again lay back, so everything would really take place as normal, with Vegeta going SSJ Blue Evolution and beating Topo while Goku achieves the Ultra Instinct, yada yada yada, y'all get the drill. Trunks was able to rest due to Universe 7's domination so far in the tournament. This would of course end up with him being in the fight with Jiren. Vegeta is the first to be eliminated by Jiren, which once again creates this rage form from Trunks come out. Though this time, he was barely getting any hits in because Jiren was that strong. Jiren was just mocking him, slapping him around the ring. Goku tries fighting Jiren again in Blue Kaioken, but ends up in the same crater as Trunks. Luckily though, Android 17 was able to come in and save them with a barrier shield as he once did before. So then after this, as we all know where I'm going with this, but first, Trunks looks back at Android 17. It reminds him of his past. Trunks sees Gohan, his mentor Gohan's death. Trunks then looks over at Goku, once again reminding him of Black, which reminds him of his dear mother being took from him. But Trunks just looks over at Android 17 and Goku and simply smiles, as him and Goku then power up to their Super Saiyan and rush to eliminate Jiren, as 17 would win the Tournament of Power. And as we all know, he would wish for all the universes to come back. So
we take off on the story where the Broly movie does on Bulma's new island, where Bulma, Chi-Chi, and Mai were all discussing how Vegeta, Goku, and Trunks could basically train as much as they wanted, causing no damage to anyone way out here. Also though, Bulma and Mai were working on some space travel to some other universes because they found it very interesting after the Tournament of Power. The two believed that the Universal ship would be a great addition to Capsule Corp, and Mai was on the final stages of actually completing the prototype. Meanwhile, Vegeta and Trunks' relationship was growing much bigger than before due to Trunks always being around and trying to train with him and Goku. And as for Goku, he loved having Trunks around. Goku and Trunks trained nearly every day together. Trunks even had his Super Saiyan Rage form on lock and was even tapping into some God Ki here and there while training with Whis. The Broly finding would only happen a little later, but Whis would still question while Goku and Vegeta on why they wish to grow stronger, as well as Trunks. Trunks answers, "The same reason as always. I have to protect the Earth. It's always what I've tried to do." However, the three continue their training, skipping about a month ahead. Mai had finished the universal ship, not just the prototype, but the entire ship. Mai and Bulma decide to take the ship for a test ride before bringing it to the media, and Trunks would also tag along. While traveling, they notice a ship needed a slight engine repair, so they have to take a landing on a nearby planet. And I think you all know where I'm going with this. It is none other than Planet Vampa. It wasn't the ideal planet to land on, but Mai told Bulma it was a must fix and they couldn't wait to land on a better planet. The three land on it, and as soon as they do, they put on their suits and Paragus rushes over to the ship. But before he could get to it, Trunks lands in front of him. Paragus would instantly start spilling who he is and saying that him and his son are Saiyans that were abandoned by the Frieza army much long ago. Trunks would then tell Paragus that his father is the prince of all Saiyans, Vegeta, and this instantly shoots off a red flag in Paragus' head, so he decides to come up with something. However, a big creature would then come up around the ship, but Broly would rush in and kill it, as he normally does. Trunks would be amazed by Broly's power, thinking it was crazy high, even surpassing his base form right there. Paragus then comes up with a plan to try and convince the three that they were good guys, just trying to get off this planet. Trunks is quite suspicious, but Mai and Bulma fall for the story, considering that they're two Saiyans abandoned out here just trying to escape. Broly and Paragus would come back with them on the ship after it's fixed by Mai. Trunks stays behind at all times just watching and observing the two, but couldn't really find anything wrong just yet. Arriving back on Earth now, right at Capsule Corp, Vegeta is awaiting to see who the two new power levels are, with Goku using the instant transmission to pop up right beside him. Bulma and Mai get out of the ship so excited, saying that the ship is almost ready and they found some Saiyan survivors. And this is when Goku Trunks are both caught off guard. But the two Saiyans walk off right behind them, being Bulma and Mai, introducing themselves as Goku shakes Broly's hand and tells him that he seems quite strong, but Paragus cuts him off for his own good. Which Goku replies, "Impossible. You can never be too strong." Anyway, Broly and Paragus would wash up, but on the first night, Paragus set his plan inside Broly's head. Paragus begins discussing who Vegeta is to Broly. Broly is shocked to hear the stories of what Vegeta's father, the king, has done to him and his family. Paragus tells him that his father abandoned them and sent them to a hellhole called Vampa. Paragus then adds a bit more just to get under Broly's skin by saying that the king always mocked him and made fun of their family. The next time that Broly would come into contact with Vegeta, he would slowly get more and more mad just by looking at him. Bulma and Mai start to ask Broly and Paragus questions, but Broly never answers, only Paragus. Trunks then points this out, but Paragus rudely tells Trunks not to speak to his son. His bloodline deserved revenge. This morally kind of slipped out, so Vegeta quickly reacts to Paragus. "What about the bloodline?" This is when Paragus screams, "Now, Broly!" Broly would then dash full speed at the prince, knocking him through the Capsule Corp walls. The two then start trading blows back and forth while Trunks approaches Paragus. Paragus actually accepts just to walk over Trunks, so Trunks easily grabs Paragus' arm and tosses him. However, Vegeta was noticing that Broly was growing in strength and getting much better as they fought. So Vegeta had no chance but to go into Super Saiyan, and this stunned Paragus, who was barely getting back up. Trunks flies over again, but Paragus cries, "Broly, Broly, this one's trying to kill me." But before Trunks could say anything, Broly had already rushed over, changing targets from Vegeta to Trunks, but now enraged even more, tapping more into his power of Akari form. Trunks couldn't manage in his base form, so skipping into straight Super Saiyan 2. However, Broly was still keeping up, until quickly gaining the upper hand, and in the meantime, it was now Vegeta who paid attention to Paragus. In the meantime, Goku would actually be training with Whis on Beerus' planet. Goku ironically would be talking about how strong that Broly guy was and how he wanted to fight him so bad, but Pal Paragus wouldn't let him. Reason why him being there. While back on Earth, Trunks was now getting manhandled in his Super Saiyan 2 form, and Paragus is being taunted by Vegeta. So it's me who you have a problem with, huh? Well, why don't you and your lower class self fight the prince? Just get your own revenge, not have your son do it. How pathetic. Vegeta then grabs Paragus by the throat. Broly would then look over and completely lash out, thinking that Vegeta's about to kill his dad. Trunks notices this, so he goes to his highest form of power, Super Saiyan Rage. But Broly was now a legendary Super Saiyan. Trunks followed behind Broly, who is rushing towards Vegeta. Vegeta turns around to eat a ki blast to the face. However, Trunks is right there aiding his father by fighting Broly. Trunks couldn't keep up with the punches, so flies back, shooting a burning attack. But Broly just eats the blast and still comes flying. Meanwhile, the large amount of power that was being produced on Earth was able to catch Goku's attention, who was able to lock onto Trunks' energy with the instant transmission. Goku is amazed by Broly, but Trunks quickly tells him to get serious, so Goku jumps into the Super Saiyan God. Trunks and Goku dash in together, shooting barrages of ki. But Broly wasn't backing down by sending spirals of ki himself. Trunks sees a blast heading straight towards Mai, so rushes towards her as fast as possible, taking the blast head on, knocking himself out. Mai crouches down, comforting Trunks, as Goku would then proceed with the battle with Broly alone. At least long enough to shoot a Kamehameha at Broly to just glide him through it like it was nothing. Like just normal air, Broly just goes straight through the Kamehameha. Broly with one hand nails Goku, causing him to go flying, but Vegeta would go right above him in his Super Saiyan blue form, shooting off a massive final flash. This, like Broly's blast, catches him off guard. Vegeta then dives down, angrily pounding out on Broly, but it wouldn't take long for Broly to outmatch Vegeta. Luckily though, Trunks was stumbling up. Trunks would eat a Senzu Bean thanks to Bulma having some for Vegeta after his gravity training and Capsule Corp. Trunks, all healed up, rushes in, while this would give Vegeta the idea of doing the fusion dance with Goku and becoming Gogeta. And of course, they would mess up the first time, but because Trunks is in his rage form, that they were able to hold their own for quite some time. And Piccolo would also come in flying like a badass, like he always does in all the movies, and helps Trunks. The two aren't able to do very much, but are able to create a good distraction for the meantime. Piccolo was spamming all his techniques, even trying to hold Broly with his stretch arms while Trunks shoots a finish buster. Broly would eat the attack, and it would do quite enough damage to distract, enough time for Piccolo to grow his arms back and for Gogeta to finally be ready to fight. Gogeta would then go rushing in, knocking Broly around in his base form. But they also know that Broly in Super Saiyan would get stronger as he's been doing, so they push themselves even further into Super Saiyan Blue and then use the Stardust Breaker and then follows it up with a final Kamehameha. This, however, was enough to kill Broly, who slowly gains consciousness at the end of the fight. As for Paragus, he was gut punched by Trunks and then thrown to be blasted in a heat dome attack, ending Paragus right there as well. However, in the short amount of time after both Broly and Paragus passing, everyone would kind of then start to think that it was possible that Broly was being brainwashed, especially Mai and Bulma after talking to him on the ship on the way back. Trunks, Goku, and Vegeta would then all set off after Mai and Bulma tell them to the Arctic to get the last Dragon Ball to wish the innocent Broly back to life, just hoping that they can help Broly become a good guy. As for Bulma and Mai though, after one more trial of actually getting the first spaceship ever built by a human, and that being a woman of all people, to travel to another universe. So the story actually works out pretty nicely. Paragus still dies, but Broly is actually going to be staying on Earth. So unless we get the moral arc, this video and this series will be coming to an end. So I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, turn on that bell notification for all alerts, And also don't forget to join the Discord and follow us on Twitter for extra sneak peeks to other videos. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Dragon Star Productions is out.